To Coach Kiffin and Ole Miss, they played great, and much respect for what I told Lane after the game. Much respect for how he was able to get his team ready to play after the disappointment they had last week, coming into a really difficult environment. So I thought they did a great job, and ton of respect for them. Really appreciate the effort that our guys played with. There were some great individual effort plays. Norris, he was obviously beat up coming into this game, and just the way that he competed and battled. O'Donnell Fortune, they hit a deep ball over there on their sideline, and the effort by him to get the guy on the ground, and then I think we held them to a field goal in that series. They hit the slant on us, and they came across the field, and DQ Smith, his effort to go, run that thing down and get the ball back right there as well. So really appreciate that effort. Having said that, probably is disappointed, not probably, the most disappointed I've ever been as a head football coach in the way that we played. And that starts with me as the head football coach. We talked coming into this game, Ole Miss was the most penalized team in the SEC. They played the most games, obviously, so they had a lot of penalties, but penalty yards per game, I think they were averaging close to 90 per game, and we talked all week about being the most poised and the disciplined team, and we were undisciplined to say the least today, and that starts with me as the head coach. I didn't do a good enough job. When you talk about the multiple offsides penalties, a taunting penalty, 2 offensive pass interference penalties. We got to burn a timeout on that last drive on a critical 3rd or 4th down play because we can't get lined up the correct way. Really, really, really disappointing. And that is completely on me. We all need to look ourselves in the mirror, but I've got to do a better job because we had a great week of practice, and I'm shocked at the way that we played, just to be completely frank and honest with you. And our guys really, really wanted this one. And I was, one concern I had, and talked about it earlier in the week, was knowing how much we wanted this thing, that we just got out there and don't play with the poise and the discipline that we need to. And that's exactly what happened. We talked about you can learn from losses, and what did we learn from the LSU game? And we cost ourselves with penalties in that game. And I haven't done a good enough job of helping those guys learn from that one, because it cost us again today. As well. So we've got to be better, get to go on the road next week as well. Got a lot of work to do, but still believe in this football team. We've shown so many signs of being a really good football team. We weren't that today. Certainly disappointed. It was an amazing environment. Everything was set up perfect, and we didn't coach and perform well enough. Injury-wise, O'Donnell, we didn't have him in the second half. He's got an upper body injury. We'll see how long he may be out for. Jared Brown had to leave the game with the same injury. We'll see about him. And then Dale Von Campbell on that pass down there in the end zone. He's got a pretty significant shoulder. We'll see where he is from that standpoint. I know you'll ask about the fake punt at the beginning of the game. Thought like we had a good call. It's something we've been repping since August. As well. Not very good on my part. Certainly wish I could have that one back. Thought we could get a yard on that. They played it really well, a little bit differently than we expected off the edge. I think that guy's the guy that made the tackle. Anticipated them being a little bit softer on the edge and being able to, get some penetration or get some movement in there to be able to pick up a couple yards or whatever it was. So I hate that I put our defense in that position. And that was really, to me, the key. The first quarter, just to be frank, excuse my language, sucked the way that we played in the first quarter. The fake punt, it didn't work. We're driving on offense. We fumble. We turn the ball over. They go down the field and score. I think we had 2 offsides penalties on defense in the first quarter alone. Just got to be better, for sure. Starting with me, and we will be. Questions?
And welcome to the post-game Coach's Corner. I'm the Coach Dick Cox, joined by Coach Barry Toney, coming to you from Williams-Brice Stadium tonight for a key SEC matchup. The South Carolina Gamecocks came in with a 3-1 record, while the Ole Miss Rebels came in at 4-1. And this was highly anticipated as being a close game. But South Carolina, who had 2 weeks to prepare for the game, made too many mental mistakes, and Shane Beamer said played undisciplined football tonight, and Ole Miss came away with a 27-3 SEC win over the Gamecocks.
Right, but what happened there, Ole Miss jumped down to a 14-0 lead, and they never looked back. And they pretty much controlled both lines of scrimmage, offense and defense, for their victory today.
And like you said, the first quarter was the big difference of Shane Beamer faked the punt deep in his own territory on a 4th and 1. And he said this was a situation that they have repped ever since back in August to get this play in and get it ready, and they came up short. You don't want to give Ole Miss a short field in that situation. And Beamer said if he had it to do over again, he would not do it, and he apologized to his defense for putting them in a bad situation. And that was a quick, easy 7-0 lead that Ole Miss was able to take.
You're right there, Coach, but you know, I believe the Gamecocks were like about an 8.5, 9-point underdog. And sometimes to be able to pull out games like that, you have to, take some chances sometimes. But it's always easy to look back and say, oh, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Just don't always get done.
Also in the fourth quarter, South Carolina came back, were moving the football down the field, maybe got a little bit tricky and putting a Robbie Ashford, the backup quarterback, in to keep it on a run, and lo and behold, the one play he plays, he fumbled, giving Ole Miss again good field position out near the midfield stripe. Ole Miss drives a short field again, goes up 14-0 in a quarter. Coach Beamer said, to quote him, he said, in the first quarter, he said, pardon the language, he said, we suck. Can you top that?
I tell you what, Coach, like I said, that first quarter really put the Gamecocks behind the 8 ball, where they played hard and competed, but Ole Miss, let's face it, they just had too many weapons on their team today. They were strictly tough.
I thought a turning point in the game was this right here, that right before halftime, South Carolina had stopped the drive and had gotten the ball back around their own 2-yard line with less than a minute and a half to go in the half, and had 3rd down, threw to a wide open receiver who had plenty of ground to run, pick up the first down, and then some, and he tripped and fell over his own feet 2 feet short. South Carolina punts, and here comes Ole Miss down to score in the final seconds of the half to now go up by the lead that they had then. We're tacking on a touchdown. Was 17-3 then, was 24-3. South Carolina goes in down with that deficit at the half.
Hey, you're right there, Coach. That was a big play in the game. And whether it's short field or long field, and that Jackson Dart, who's the quarterback for Ole Miss, when he gets that ball, he is a very extremely dangerous passer. He's an athlete for the best part.
South Carolina took the second half kickoff, drove down on a nice looking drive to start the second half, and went down and missed. Coach Beamer said that he wanted to at least get points on the board on that first drive, and they missed a 38-yard field goal. And again, from that point on, they had some good drives and just were not able to get the ball across the goal line.
That's right. After it's all been said and done there, Coach, basically the Ole Miss, they just started out from scratch, and Dave Dart, he mentioned about it being a big road win for them. Any road win would be big, and he pointed that out during his interview while we had a TV set in there, where Vanderbilt upset Alabama. He said that just goes to show you right there how difficult the Southeastern Conference football is.
And again, one of the big talking points, and I brought this point to Coach Shane Beamer after the ball game, in this game, and this is something that's not good for college football, that there was a stoppage of play of Ole Miss players, and we're not saying 100%. We're saying what it looks like. And it looks like that every time South Carolina would get something going on offense, and Coach Shane Beamer even admitted that when they would get something going, there mysteriously would be an injured player for Ole Miss. There was one player for Ole Miss that was assisted off the field 4 times. There were 11 times stoppage of play for Ole Miss to have players taken off the field, and when they walked off with the attending people, they actually walked off better than the people that came to check on them.
Well, that fellow that was involved there, Coach, what was number 89?
Number 80, 83.
Yeah, he the one scored 2 touchdowns for him.
And again, Coach Beamer said that he wanted to hope that these players were fine and okay, but it said it just seems kind of strange if you go back to the Wake Forest game, if you go back to the Kentucky game, and you go back to every game they played this year, the same players keep getting injured, and there continues to be stoppage of play where the other team cannot get any offensive play. He said that they would be looking into this and would probably try to make the SEC aware of it, though. But the officials are having to stop the game if somebody's hurt. But it just awful strange. That probably's got to be a new record. Same guy assisted off the field 4 times that keeps coming back in, walks off the field perfectly fine, comes in on offense in their heavy package and plays shotgun quarterback. But yet we had to stop the game 4 times for him laying on the ground for a long time.
Yeah, I tell you what, there, Coach, that was an extremely long game too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
That was a lot of things that was going on.
The final comments were on Shane Beamer that he hopes that this is not what it looks like it is, because he said if it is, this is bad for college football. This is a bad look for college football when you have teams that have players laying down, possibly faking injuries to stop momentums of other teams.
Right, so we'll send that to Birmingham. We'll see what happens as a result of that.
South Carolina, road doesn't get any easier. They travel to Tallahassee next week to take on
T-Town, Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa, that's right, I'm sorry, Tuscaloosa. It's a T-Town.
Hey, that was a T-Town.
Wrong
anyway,
T-Town.
Coach.
To Tuscaloosa,
Right.
Alabama, to take on, and this is kind of interesting. They had to play Ole Miss after an upset loss for them last week. Now Alabama gets upset, and they're going to be coming in wanting to regain a little bit, take some frustrations out. And the following week they go to Oklahoma, and the possibility of them coming in after a loss to Texas. The Gamecock Road is filled with many potholes over the next couple of weeks.
Knows what they have to do, and Gamecocks need to do. Not so much you have adversity, because all the SEC teams don't have adversity. It's how you deal with it
And Coach
how you handle it.
Shane Beamer congratulated Lane Kiffin on getting his team ready to play after a disappointing loss last week, and said he did not do a good job of getting his team to play, that a lot of the penalties that they've had earlier in the year, and he thought that he had solved some of these issues on undisciplined penalties. He said that this is on him, that he's going to have to go back and make sure they understand you don't taunt after you sack the quarterback. You don't taunt the quarterback by shooting a toy gun at him.
Play the game.
And you don't jump off sides every time the quarterback claps his hand. They said they had talked about it, but they're going to have to talk some more about it.
That's a rule they're really trying to enforce throughout the year. You're right.
Reporting for Lindy Sports and Cox Sports Broadcasting, and it sounded like Hurricane Helene was back with these blowers in the background behind us back here, though. I hope you get your power on after 9 days. My wife just called me a minute ago and said mine came back on. But again, continue to pray for the people in North Carolina, in Tennessee, and those people that still are missing loved ones, that have lost loved ones. Again, it's been a very frustrating week for me. and for a lot of people, but there's a lot more people that still have it tougher than we do.
Absolutely. That's what you call a matter of respect there, Coach. You're absolutely right. Our prayers are with everyone.
We'll see you again in 3 weeks from Williams-Brice Stadium when the Texas A&M Aggies come to town. Until then, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Can you talk about how hard it was to get a flow in the game when there were 11 stoppages of play to assist their players off, and one of their players had to be same guy assisted off 4 times?
First of all, I hope all those guys are okay, for sure. We had some guys that had some injuries as well, and you know, Boogie and Jules went down a couple times, and I hope they're okay. I hope they're okay. It's remarkable to me how many, maybe it's something and listen, I got my own problems. We just got our butts kicked 27-3, but it's fascinating to me how many injuries occur for them after the opposing offense makes a first down or has a big play. And you go back and watch the Wake Forest game. It happens a lot to the same guy. You watch the Kentucky game. It happens a lot. So certainly we'll look at the tape, and I know there's a review process as well, but it's, again, I hope those guys are well and they're great players, and you know, I really hope they're okay. I know we had a big injury report this week, and I'm sure it'll be another big one this week as well, but we'll look at it, and there's not much the officials can do during the game, but certainly it's a thing that, you know, we'll discuss with the people above us as well. But again, I got my own problems on our own team right now, but I think if it's the timing of some of the injuries, it's a really bad look for college football, and it's not what this game's about. If what it looks